following podcast is brought to you by NT2099 Media and Entertainment and is part of the J Radio Network. You're listening to The J.
Hey, what's up everyone? I want to welcome you to an episode of the Tetsudo Mokei Podcast. This is part of the J podcast, and for those of you who are not familiar with us and are just discovering us for the first time, the J podcast has been around since 1998. It's actually a very long-running podcast that focused on Japanese entertainment, and we played Japanese music and so forth. But that lasted from 1998 to 2008, and then pretty much we decided to bring it back again. But instead of just focusing on the entertainment side, we wanted to focus on other sides of Japanese pop culture. But instead of talking about everything in just one episode, we wanted to separate things. So we started with the Tetsudo Mokei Podcast, which focuses on Japanese model trains and Japanese trains in general, and Japanese railways. And then we went to do the TOMIX Podcast Edition, which focused on TOMIX die-cast metal vehicles and also Hot Wheels and Matchbox and so forth. And, both are still going strong. The VR, also, the virtual reality podcast is still going. That is more video-based. But the thing is that in the past, we did everything via audio, by MP3. Everything now is through YouTube. So I think, if anything, it just gives more people a better chance of accessing it and also listening to it. Problems in the past where we had the MP3 podcast edition is that especially when the files were shared everywhere, and especially when we covered certain topics that were a little bit more popular or controversial, it would kill our server. And I remember one episode where a friend, they were planning to have a Japanese Japanese radio station on Sirius and XM radio, and when word came out that it would be a replacement for a heavy metal station, people went crazy, and everyone were redirecting to my radio station to hear the interview, and next thing you know, it went so crazy, killed our server, and pretty much it became so controversial that the radio station that was supposed to happen didn't happen because so many people really rallied against it. That was back then. That was back then in the 2000s, and things are a little bit better now, I hope. I don't really listen to satellite radio stations, but I do know that there have been K-pop and I'm not sure if anime radio stations, but for the most part a lot of those have been on streaming radio, and it's been around for quite a while, and we've actually pretty much promoted a lot of those stations through the J. This one, there's no advertising. We're not going to do any music. Not to say we won't in the future, but for the most part, I wanted it to be focused on just information and just pretty much run with it. Sometimes they go for 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours. But for the most part, I like to keep the episodes short, just depending on how much news we have. And again, I welcome those of you who discovered us, as our episodes will now be featured on the neotokyo2099.com website, which is our parent site that pretty much features Japanese entertainment and pop culture. We're celebrating our 30th year anniversary, and that goes to show that we've been around for such a long time promoting Japanese culture, pop culture, and we're kind of happy and thrilled that we've reached 30 years. It's not something that's easy to do. Many places have many sites have tried, and it's something that you just have to be passionate about. And no matter where you may be, maybe you be in Japan or outside of Japan, if you have interest in Japanese pop culture in general, not just anime or whatever niche hobby or niche thing that that there is out there, we want to tackle a lot of those topics. And in this for this podcast, it's pretty much model trains. So you're wondering why model trains? Well, in Japan, as you know, it's pretty much you got your two cultures, and there's two cultures that I'm very excited about, that people have means of travel, public transportation, and also with those having their own vehicles or cars. And the thing is that with model trains, it's been around for such a long time. A lot of people ride the trains. A lot of train stations are very good in promoting themselves. May it be through their own merch or even their own trains. And there have been long-standing companies that have been around for decades, many decades. And especially during the COVID, the novel coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people got back into the hobby. And there are people, I think you could say that part of the popularity also is that you have the parents who grew up with trains, and then the next level is people who are introduced through trains through something called Plarail, which is made by Takara Tomy, and the Pla is the some people may say play rail or plastic rail, but they are plastic trains that run through AA batteries on tracks, and then people usually tend to graduate to actual full trains depending on how hardcore they are. For me, one of the I guess exciting things is that I can build my diorama along with the trains, and that's what excites me the most, of having to build my little I guess you could say city, which is inspired by Tokyo, inspired by pretty much Tokyo. And some areas when I drive, may you be riding the Narita Express from the airport, from Narita airport, or if you're going to traveling the Shinkansen, those things that you see while you're riding on the train, those little things I tend to keep whenever I ride the trains, it just captures my attention, and I tend to enjoy it a lot. And what I enjoy about Japanese trains is that there's so much variety. Not just the freight trains and passenger trains, they have sleeper trains, luxury trains of various colors, and a lot of history that goes beyond that. And also, what I enjoy also is that in Japan, these companies that own the train, the train companies, or actually the train companies that are in Japan, they own a lot of buildings, may it be department stores, may it be real estate. You've probably seen it yourself if you're in Tokyo. You go to a major station, a metro station, and right next to that metro station is a major department store. Maybe Seibu, maybe something of another train company. It's just they own it, and it's something that people grew up with, and especially for shopping. You probably shopped at one of those department stores owned by a train company. You probably also have, especially if you're a traveler, you bought the JR pass, you've ridden on many trains, to all throughout Japan. So in a way, for those of you who are travelers, you also have taken a big part in the Japanese culture of riding trains. There's a lot of us ride the, JL or ANA for planes, and of course if you code share, then you, of course, if you're especially in the US, if you're riding American Airlines or United, they tend to code share with the Japanese airplane companies. But the thing is that you only do that when you're going there, and when you're leaving. For most of you who are traveling, most of your transportation is probably through trains. And so think about in Japan, going to school, going to work, just getting from point A to point B. Trains are a big part of that culture. A lot of people, there are people who do have cars, but it's a little bit more challenging than the United States, where I'm going to use California example. You buy a car, you have your yearly yearly what do you call it? Your yearly registration. Sometimes you may have a smog check. Some states don't have that. You can just buy a car and not worry about that. But in Japan, it's such a pain to have a car. Even though having a car is really awesome, you have to deal with these just to get a license plate, just to get checked. If you modify your car, you have to pretty much put it back to stock for your inspection, your yearly or every 2-year inspection. Sometimes it go 2 or 3 years, but for a lot of people, what they end up doing is just before the inspection's up, they buy another car and they keep on buying another car every 3 years or something and just trading in. Because the thing is that they, especially if they modify, it's just they just want to not deal with it and have someone else, pretty much, or actually they have to deal with it, but pretty much, not deal with the other things that come up with it. They just rather get a new car, then modify again, and then if they're 2 or 3 years are up, they have a decision to make if they want to put it back to stock or what. But yeah, it happens in California as well. California is such a terrible place for, well, I don't want to say terrible. Majority of people ride cars, and already trains don't do well that in America. But the thing is with cars, California is probably one of the most regulated states, so you can't really do any modifications, and if you do, it kind of sucks, because there are just a lot of rules. If you put stickers, or if you put something on your rear view mirror, or anything like that, you could get caught. It's illegal. There's a lot of things that can make that are fine in other states, but are just not fine in California. And the same thing with Japan, but the difference is that where you have a police who will probably stop you in the US. In Japan, it's only if you're doing something stupid, if you're speeding, but most of the time it's just those inspections that Japanese have to worry about, and there are numerous, so it could be a pain. So I think for a lot of people, having a vehicle is a luxury, but especially if especially if you have multiple vehicles. There are people who do that. A lot of people do import cars to other countries, and that's part of their bread and butter. But for a lot of people who do not want to incur any other expenses, trains is the way to go. So depending on the train you ride, some people like to ride trains that they grew up with or grew up riding. Maybe they be nostalgic, or there's something being released now, or there is a train that just pretty much catches your attention. You've seen it before, or read about it. For me, most of the model trains that I own are pretty much trains that I've ridden on. There are a few that I haven't ridden on, but I've seen before at the station, or I've seen it on video and it's just caught my interest. Like, for example, the luxury sleeper trains. Those are very expensive, and a lot of them are in Fukuoka. and I've never been to Fukuoka. I've pretty much been mostly to several prefectures in Japan, mostly in the Kanto and Kansai area, but rarely do I go way south or way north. I still haven't gone to Hokkaido yet. Hopefully I will in the near future, and I've never been to Okinawa or Fukuoka, but again, those are plans that hopefully I can do in the future. But first, we're going to go ahead and let's take a look at what's happening here with KATO. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Japanese model trains, KATO is the biggest brand. Well, there's actually two, KATO and Takara Tomy with TOMIX, and then there are other smaller companies. So KATO is one of the biggest ones, and they are known for quality. Actually, both them and TOMIX, they're both known for their quality, but the difference is that I think one can say one is Coke, the other is Pepsi. Which one's which, I don't know, but I do know that a lot of people believe that KATO is the best. It's made in Japan, and also there is a dedication of quality. But TOMIX is not bad at all. It's actually very good. They have a lot of freight trains and the carton containers. They do pretty much the same type of trains as KATO, but there are some differences. And the differences, there's positive and negatives out there, but you just pretty much have to do your due diligence, and you could look online and pretty much, just see the differences. The differences are usually on a curve structure and how realistic things are. When a train has a new mold, the better things are. But if it's reusing something from the past, then some people tend to really be vocal on social media. But okay, we're gonna go ahead and talk about KATO right now, and they announced their November releases. So let's go ahead and talk about this one right here. Let me go ahead and bring this up. So let's see if you can see a bigger one here. Okay, so this is a T-track. So T-track module. And I'm trying to see the price here. 2404, 5830. So it's not too expensive. So I guess this is cool, and you're wondering, well, what's this going to be used for? Well, a lot of people like to do small dioramas, so they can buy several of these pieces and build something right here. But I think this is convenient for people who pretty much, here we go right here, the diorama shows. You can see people who create their miniature dioramas and like to showcase them. There's a lot of people. There are people who like to do full train sets and with a full scope, pretty much using their entire house or at least for me, I just use not half, but I could say maybe 25% of this office is dedicated to my diorama for my train. The 75% is not, but that's how I like it. There's just no way I can dedicate that much space to diorama, but some people do that, and I think it's wonderful if you can do that. But yeah, I think this is a very cool set. It's not that expensive. $58.30 for those of you in the US. That's about like $45 or so. So not too bad. Okay, what do we have here? So we got the Series 283, the Ocean Arrow. That is pretty cool. So this is the 283 series, a pendulum type limited express train. So that means that the track, when it says pendulum, it can go at a slant. So this one first appeared from JR West back in 1996 as a Super Kuroshio Ocean Arrow. and it connects to Shin Osaka with Shingu and Shirahama in Wakayama Prefecture. It's equipped with a controlled natural pendulum that is more stable than the conventional 381 series, and possible to run at 35 kilometers an hour on the Kisei main line, which has many small curved sections. So there are two types of leading car designs: a non-penetrating type and a penetrating type. As you can see here, they're just different in look. The non-penetrating type is a streamlined panorama green car with a sense of speed reminiscent of a dolphin. Ocean Aero is commercialized with a pendulum mechanism. It is operated as a 6-car or 9-car train, and if you purchase all 3 sets, you will have all the cars registered. A formation features 6 trains. A formation 6 trains times 2. B and C formations 4. Okay, I see what you mean here. So let's look at this. I'm not sure if we can make it bigger. No, we can't. So the 9-car set is 43,780 yen. So that is about, little over $400. The 6-car basic set is 29,040. So that's about $275, and the 3-car set, which is the add-on, is about 15,180, which is about $125. But looks like this one you will need to get the 6-car basic set to start out or buy the full set. Yeah, you can buy the 6-car basic set, and if you want, you could add the 3-car add-on. For me, I like buying the basic sets because my diorama is not so big that it could fit so many trains. I mean, for me, I can get by with at least 3 or 4 cars. So since mine is a smaller diorama, but a lot of people have these long ones where they can run all 9 cars, and some people run a lot. So I think that's pretty awesome. So this is the 283, which is I think a very big plus. So let's go on to the next one here. What do they have? Let's bring this up a little bit bigger here. So you got the E231-1000, the Tokaido line renewal car. And as you can see here with the green and yellow, or green and orange, a lot of people call this the Ueno colors or the Shonan colors. And this one pretty much was introduced in 2000 to replace the aging 113 and 115 series. Differences can be seen between the 8 cars that were newly built on the Tokaido line in 2004, and that the 2 cars were built in, such as the shape of the cooler and the absence of preparation work for the outside speakers on the curtain plate. So for the most part, for those of you who enjoyed the operation of the Shonan Shinjuku line and Ueno Tokyo line using the 231 series 1000 grade upgrade, let's see here. I'm looking to see how much is the basic set. So the basic set's about $15,620. That one should cost you about $125. The add-on is about $12,980. So that should cost people about $100 right there. They have 2 add-on sets. Add-on set A comes with 4 cars. Add-on set B comes with 2 cars. Then you got the main Tokaido line accessory formation set, which is $20,460, so about $175-$180 right there. But again, it all depends on how many trains you want, because this one's quite inexpensive. The basic set is only 4 cars, and that's very affordable. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's see what we have here. We have the E65 2000 popular freight car, the JR Freight 1000 series, which operates at 100 kilometers an hour or less without a driving status recording device due to the revision of the ministerial ordinance in 2012. Belongs to a passenger company. In order to distinguish from the 1000 series, the 2000 series is the group that received the remaining of 1 plus 1000 to the original number. Okay. So this features a slotless motor for the power unit. This one costs about $8,800, so that means it'll cost about $65 for this one train right here, which is actually pretty cheap. if you're looking for an EF65. I always recommend the EF65s if you definitely want to pull, if you want to do freight as one of your freight trains to have in your collection. It's a pretty much of a classic that you see in Tokyo, especially in the Tokaido, Sanyo, and Shikoku areas as well. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and check out the next one. This one's the 9300. So the Hankyu Railway series, how you can tell things are Hankyu is usually these colors. It usually has the like this purplish color with a white or sometimes beige color. But usually when you see that purple, it's almost the same thing when you see the orange and the green, and you know it's Shonan or Ueno. The same things can be said with Hankyu Railway. When you see this deep purple, you know it's a Hankyu train. So this one was introduced back in 2003 as a cross-seat limited express train on the Kyoto line. Although it is a 3-door car, it inherits a traditional cross-seat style and has the character of a limited express car. The basic 4-car set, let's see how much it's going to cost. So if you get the... Okay, so they have the 9300 starter set. So they're going to be releasing this as a starter. So 21,670 should cost about 175. Let's see here. The basic set is 15,070. So that should cost you about 125 bucks. And then you could get the basic sets at 4 cars each. 9300. The add-on, I mean, as in which is 4 cars at 10,560. And then you could get the full 8-car set for 24,200 yen. So that's about 200 bucks or so. It all depends, of course, on the yen conversion. Right now, Japanese yen's doing terrible. So a lot of people who live outside of Japan are getting things a lot cheaper than those who are living in Japan. So if you want to get into model trains, now's a good time to buy them. Now, before I go to TOMIX, I just want to bring this up, and this is for October releases. You got the 223 Series 2000 Special Rapid Service, and let me actually bring this up right here. Okay, and so this one is the train that appeared back in 1999 as the definitive version of the 223 series that is active in the Kansai area. And let's see here. This one is going to cost about 16. Well, actually, the 8-car set is going to be 28,160. So it's about 250 bucks. And then the 4-car set is 16,280. Which is about 145 bucks. So that's if you want to get this one. But the big one that I want to bring up is this one right here. This is the luxury one. The E001 Shikishima. And this one is the good time to get this right now. Because Amazon Japan has this on sale for 148 bucks. This is in the same deal, so definitely get it because it's usually 20,900 for the 4-car basic set. By the way, I'm telling you the retail price of what KATO has. When you go to Amazon Japan or other places, they may have it a lot cheaper. But right now, I can tell you right now, this one for the 4-car set, which is 20,900 yen, which is supposed to be about 180 bucks or so. Right now, you can get it for $148 US dollars, that is. And then you have the HO scale. For those of you who are not familiar with trains, you got the N-gauge stuff, and then the HO. HO's slightly bigger. N-gauge is pretty much... You'll see a lot of people operating them if you look online. If you want something bigger, you go for the HO. If you want something smaller, you go for the N-gauge. Anything smaller than the N-gauge would be the Z-gauge, and that's the tiniest ones that are operated by another company, which we have discussed many times on this podcast before. So I just really want to promote this. The reason why I recommend it is because, you also get the lights, but one of the things that you kind of wish that you could get is something. If you get the 10-car set cheaper, that's great, because although you get the 4-car set, which is great and it's still lighted, you kind of want this one right here. I think this is the lounge area or the food area, so it's kind of cool to have that. It's it's probably a train that was really quite special. There's a few luxury trains out there that if you ever see them being re-released, you want to take advantage of it while you can, and this is one of them right now, especially while it's quite cheap. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is the TOMIX releases right here. This is Takara Tomy's train line. Takara Tomy also has a Tomitech line, which they release trains, special trains, but they don't put an engine on them. They allow the engine to be purchased separately, but at that rate, then you're just might as well just buy a full train from TOMIX. I mean, but yeah, I understand. Tomitech does make trains that are not released by TOMIX, especially some of those rural areas or those small trains. But yeah, I can see why people. The only problem that I have with Tomitech when they release these trains is, yes, you can get them cheap for $50, but then you're gonna have to buy the engine, and TOMIX sells that little engine with the wheels and everything for almost $60 or so. So you're ending up. Yes, you're ending up spending a little bit more than a regular train. I mean, with that price, you can get a train that has 3 or 4 cars, but when you think about it, would you just want to spend that money for just a single train, or maybe 2 trains to have one to have a motor? You must really have to have that passion for that train to order that. I really recommend just going TOMIX, but I do own. Don't get me wrong, I do own some Tomitech trains. It's because those trains are not released by TOMIX, but yet I can't run them because the train is pretty much they're used for mostly like displays or toys or something like that. I mean, they're really detailed, like an N-Gauge. It just doesn't have an engine built into it. And I pretty much like the TOMIX quality, so I tend to go for TOMIX trains mostly. So you look at here, and remember what I said, orange and green? Well, here's the Shonan right here. This one is a first car museum of the JNR 165 series. JNR is the first. Way back before there was JR East, JR West, there was JNR, and JNR was such in debt that the only way to survive was to break it up in pieces and become its own. And they have multiple companies. So yeah, when you hear the JNR, think about it from the past when it was Japan's main national railway, but that is no longer. Now you have JR East, JR West, JR North, and many other railroad companies that are in operation. So, but the first car museum, let's bring that up real quick here. These are pretty much people who want to display model trains, and in a way, this is cool because the tracks are electrified. That means the lights can light up, and they're not expensive. They're only $37.40, so it's about $25 for these first museum ones. But with that being said, there's a company called TRANES, which deals with die-cast metal versions of the trains that cost only 1,200 yen, which is $8? So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to spend $25 for a display train that has headlamps, or would you just rather have a die-cast version of it and just pay $8? Again, depends on the buyer. Your mile may vary. YNMV, is that it? Is that correct? So what you have here now is the Yamanote line. the E2350. Many of you ride this train to go to if you are in Tokyo. Now, this was released as a single or a set, and so some of you may be wondering, wait a minute, TOMIX released a starter set which has like 3 or 4 has 4 trains in it. And so this is the E235 series, a commuter train that was introduced on the Yamanote line back in March 2015. By 2020, 50 trains of the same series were introduced, and it replaced the old E231s. So this one is pretty much for those who want to get the train without purchasing the starter set. This is more of the later model, and they have thinner roof beads. The car number is printed. JR mark is printed. You got green glass on the side glass door, which is reproduced. Head and tail lights and front display are lit with white LEDs. Yamanote line is installed on the front display, and the dummy only on the cab side of the leading car is equipped with a coupler. Comes with an M13 motor. You can see right here. This is the set. Set B is right here, and set A is right here. So what does that mean? So what you want to get is the 3-car set if you are just needing a few, because you get the front, you get the back, and you get the middle. The middle is where the motor is. When you see an M right here, that means that's where the battery is located. So this one is pretty much pushing the other trains. Otherwise, if you buy the 3-car set, all you need is just really the 3, and it's more than enough to fit if you have a small diorama. But then you could say, well, you know what, I want to add the B, or I want to add the A, which has 3 cars. The other one has 3 cars. Wait, 1, 2, no. Set A has 4 cars. So really, it's up to you. You can pretty much mix and match. Purists don't mix and match. They rather buy the whole thing. But if you are just getting it for the set, if you want to buy set B, set A, or set B, it's up to you. But for most people, just buying the full set is good. But for those on the budget, just buying this one is good enough. Or you could just buy the starter set, which comes with 4. So let's see here. TOMIX is also releasing the Kiha 40. I think I talked about this in a past episode before. But let's see here. This one right here, the JR Kiha 183 6000 with this red livery, with red orange, will be released. Definitely, I think this one, I did order this one, just waiting for it to come in. Then you have the Kiha 40 for the Tadami. And then you got a sleeper train of the 285s right here. So let's see if I can hit this to list. Which one is this? Here you got the commercialized. Okay. But I think if anything, for upcoming releases, if you're a Tokyo fan, you have to at least own a Yamanote line. And if you are a hardcore train fan, I do recommend getting a Engage Shonan train with a Shonan livery. But they can be quite expensive. But I think for those of you who people might like this one as well, the Kiha 40. I do like the colors of the white with the green, 2 tones of green. I think that's really cool. Okay, now we move on to the Takara Tomy. Again, Takara Tomy, their main model train company is the TOMIX division, but their most popular is their Plarail division, which is the toys that many people collect. I have a lot of trains. I have a lot of Plarail. I probably have over 100 Plarail now. But it's the same thing with my trains. I have a lot of model trains. But the reason why I like Plarail is because, one, they're plastic. You could run them on the tracks. They're inexpensive. They run about like $15. So they are affordable. Yes, they are geared for children, but they're also geared for adults. A lot of cafes have them, train cafes. That's what they use. They run on battery power. They tend to have, they can make train noises. They also have, you know, a pretty cool, it's not as well detailed, but the thing is, there's just something cool about it that I like, and I think the how cheap they are is a plus. But the big one's coming out right now is the Plarail Real Class, and this will determine the sales of these two. If this is going to be a series that will be released, because I can tell you right now, the Odoriko, the Limited Express Series 185 Odoriko with green stripes, and the Oda Q Romance car, these were originally sold at 7,700 yen. They have now dropped on Amazon to almost like 4,800 at one time, and so that's, which is like about $40. So, you know, I asked people would they get the real class, and they said, well, for this price, they would just get a real actual train. And I understand that. I do like the tracks that they're using, and I do like the extra detail that they put into these Plarail Real Class. Much more detail than a typical Plarail. But I guess it remains to be seen. We'll see if these two sell well enough to see if Takara Tomy will continue or not continue it. So let's go ahead and let's see here. They're interesting. What is going on here with the Osaka S37, the Metro? Okay, I actually was planning to order this. I had many times to order it, and I did it. But next thing you know, I noticed that they stopped selling it. And I am not sure why. I think this is the thing is they made a correction with the color that they're supposed to be a blue. So let me see what they're doing here. Okay, so what we have here, the recently released Plarail S37 Osaka Metro Chuo Line 400 series. This is a product supervised and licensed by the Osaka Municipal Kosoku Electric Tramway Company. There is no problem with the quality, but there was a issue with that that door. The color of the front car side door of the intermediate car production featured green. The actual vehicle is supposed to have blue. So what they're doing right now is that Takara Tomy said that they will replace the actual they will replace the train. Let's see here. There is no problem with the product quality. You can continue to play with it, but if you wish to have an intermediate wheel with the same design as the actual vehicle, we will replace it with the intermediate wheel that you have. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool for Takara Tomy for them owning up to the problem. I think that's why it may have been pulled from Amazon Japan, because it was on sale. Then all of a sudden, it stopped. It's just like it was taken off, and I was wondering what happened there. So it kind of makes sense now. They want to do it right, so yeah. Okay, so this is according to yodobashi.com. Their top 8 ordered trains or train related things are the Toyko Sound Train series, the E233 Keihin Tohoku line. Second place is the engaged die-cast scale model of the Okazari Rail 5-piece railway. Again, the die-cast metal really goes, they're really popular. They're made by TRANE, and because they're so cheap at 633 yen to 1,200 yen, it's affordable for a lot of families just to buy die-cast metal versions of the trains. But the train number 41 DD51 diesel locomotive is is in third place. The train number 16 series 100 Shinkansen is in fourth place. The train number 65 series 700 Shinkansen is in fifth place. Then you have the Azusa Takara Tomy S23 E353 series Azusa at sixth place. Seventh place is the Moroka Play Anywhere Panda Kuroshio adventure train. That's another one that's being popular with kids. It's just a single train that you play on a little like plastic mat or so. And then on let's see here, for eighth place, not sure if it will show here. Here we go. You got the train engaged die-cast scale model of the number 31 E7 series, the Kagayaki. So there you go for the top 8 for Yodobashi. Now let's check out Big Camera. Okay, so let's check out the Big Camera top 20 from July 2nd to July 8th. The Plarail popular sellers ranking. Pretty much Big Camera just does Plarail only, but that's okay. Let's check out what number 1 is. So you got that 5th anniversary, the Kankan Railroad Crossing DX set. Here you get those connecting parts. You could call them couplers, plastic couplers that you can put in on your trains. Definitely I recommend ordering it because it's so cheap at 210 yen. Really cheap stuff. You get quite a bit for your money. I think you get 12, I believe, for like $1 or something. Let's see here. The Tobu Spacia X. The S36 is at number 3. Then you got the long tank truck, the KF02. 5th place, you got the EVA 02 Shinkarion Z. 5th place, you got the TSO9 Plarail Diesel 10. Number 7 is the R6 New Sakarail. The 8th is the Block Piers, which I do recommend if you want to stack and make your rail sets go higher. Then you got the R23 Maga Rail, which these are like these rails that are not fixed. They can curve. You could just wiggle them and they'll curve by itself. Number 10 is the Asobi set. That one's been in the top 10 for a while. And then you have the DX Rail kit, which has also been around for a while. Number 12, you have the Plarail S30, the E233 series Chuo line. And then you have these curved rails, the RO3s, and then these connectors, the R20. These I do recommend to get them if you have a chance. The 15s are the Plarail Garage case right there. 16th is this R12, the point rails. So pretty much if you just flick that yellow thing, if you want a train to go there or go there, you can control it by selecting it with your finger. That's the difference with Plarail. Yeah, you use your finger to switch the points, where on a regular model train they can be done by your remote control, your controller. 17th, you got the Plarail Thomas the Tank Engine, the Go-Go Thomas, Annie and Clarabelle and Friends set. And 18 is the Takara Tomy Launch Deliver Marugama Seimen and Plarail. That's the one with the ramen stuff, the udon. 19 is the Go-Go Thomas Percy, 1580. And in 20th place, you have the Thomas the Tank Engine Go-Go Thomas Kana. So pretty much, yeah. I just want to mention 21 since it's way out here, but it's the Hanzamon line and Yurakucho line. That's if you want to get those two sets. But yes, the two Thomas trains are pretty cool. They're a little bit more animated in facial structure, but this is pretty much correlating with the new series that has been released in Japan. Some of you may be wondering about Hasegawa's MODEMO. MODEMO is the train company, the train brand, model train brand for Hasegawa. Hasegawa is one of Japan's top model companies, but they tend to do hobby kits, and the fact that they were releasing MODEMO for the last 2 decades or so, and they usually feature trams. They I thought everything was going well since up to 2022, but they have not released anything for almost a year now. And right now they made a notice of their suspension of their online shop. But really, the only thing train related is just their plastic model train of the RO3 locomotive Wite type. Smoke plate comes, they reproduce the boiler, smoke box, driving wheel, and so forth. It's a model that's going to be sold for 53.90 yen. But I mean, that's pretty much Hasegawa there. They're just mainly a popular model kit maker. They do cars, motorcycles, robots, jet airplanes, you name it. But in terms of trains, MODEMO was the brand that many of us have come to love. Of course, it's different from KATO and TOMIX, and some people didn't like the fact that the engine, this big old engine, is inside the vehicle, whereas KATO or TOMIX, you could see the seats and everything, and they keep the engine within this plastic compartment, miniaturized enough that you don't have this big old engine sticking out. But MODEMO, they don't do that. They have the big engine right here, and some people may have an issue with that, and I'm not sure why they stopped making it. I would assume that it was because of the cost of materials, as everything has gone up in price. Not sure if it's a temporary thing, but I really do hope that MODEMO comes back. I really love trams. I really love that. In my inner tracks, on my diorama, actually 2 tracks that I use, inner tracks that I use trams on. But it's just unfortunate, really unfortunate that that there has not been any announcement. So I don't want to say that this is the end of MODEMO, but for the time being, I don't see anything. Hasegawa hasn't really been announcing any new MODEMO stuff. It's been a long time, a very long time. And if you look here, these ones were released back in 2022 of July 13th, so it's been a while. But for anyway, that's sad news right there on the MODEMO front. But again, there's so many other companies out there that you can purchase trains. KATO and TOMIX are not the only ones. There's quite a good number of them. A few out there, some smaller companies that make quality stuff. But pretty much, again, it just depends on your convenience and how much you're willing to spend. I think for a lot of people outside of Japan, there's actually some Plaza Japan or even Ami, where they can order trains from. But for a lot of people, I know Amazon Japan has been very convenient, especially with the dollar to yen conversion, or the whatever currency you have outside of Japan. I'm sure that many of you have already taken advantage of that, hopefully. But yeah, that is it for today's episode. I'm going to let's see here. I'm going to include a few other things that I recorded within the past few weeks. I have meant to release the episode, and the reason why I held off for almost a month is because I was actually going to do a few reviews. Then all of a sudden, my 4K camera, my expensive 4K camera, has disappeared. I hope it's still around somewhere, that I could find it, but so far it's been over a month, and I have not been able to find it, unfortunately. So that's been a big bummer for me. I do have other cameras, of course, but they are not 4K. They're 1080p, which is probably good enough, but that 4K one, I just love the colors on it, and it's unfortunate that I can't find it. So I in a way, I was kind of bummed. I've done it, I would create these episodes, and then just pretty much not going further, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this review. Oh, wait a minute, I can't do this review because I don't have my nice cameras. But I'm just gonna go ahead and incorporate these other things that I recorded. These are probably a few weeks old, but again, it still deals with Denshin news a few weeks ago, but it's still relevant. So you all take care, and you have a good week. Bye-bye. Okay, let's kick off with some Tetsudo Mokei news. So what is going on in the world of trains? Well, in Japan, Ikebukuro Station, the gateway studio toward Tokyo, platforms 1 and 2, where trains to and from Toshimaen Station depart and arrive, have been remodeled with brick walls and navy signage patterned after King's Cross Station in London, England, to commemorate the renovation for Warner Brothers' Harry Potter film series. So, looking at it, looks pretty cool. Let's see here. So you'll see illustrations of subjects such as wizards and owls throughout, which is pretty good for the area of Ikebukuro, because it's known for its owl statues and owl designs everywhere around the city. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So platforms 1 and 2, that's if you're coming back or going to Toshimaen Station. And it's renovated to resemble Hogsmeade Station, the nearest station to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So I think that's very cool. So you have the Midsummer Festival with models and trains and dioramas, which will be held in Tokyo and Fukuoka in August. So June 15, 2023, Sekisui Metals Company Limited will be a sponsor of the Railway Model Contest 2023 National Kyushu Tournament, which will be held on the 12th and 13th of each month at El Gala Hall in Tenjin, Fukuoka. Diorama works with in-gauge railroad tracks are gathered and connected for each of the 15th National High School Railway Model Contests, T-Track Diorama Show 2023, and Mini Diorama Circus, and in-gauge trains run on them. It's an event that can be enjoyed by everyone, young and old. Okay. What's this? Makes me hungry. This is the Railway Model and Curry Yaki. So, family of 4 went to the popular shop called the Railway Model Kuriyaki, and that has been featured in many media in Saga Prefecture. Let's go ahead and check it out here. So the shop is run by a wonderful couple that opened in Ogimachi, Ogi City in November 2021, taking advantage of the retirement of the husband. It is a shop that makes use of each other's favorite things, model railroads, and cooking and making sweets. So the store name is simple and easy to understand. So you can get the Imagawa Yaki that makes use of the wife's favorite things, such as cooking and making sweets. The menu is extensive, and it can be difficult to decide which one to choose. So they ordered the variety pack with 5 types of butter, like unpan. Okay, some people may think, hey, for a small family, you guys are being too greedy. Well, I don't think anyone would think that. I think if you're getting a variety pack, you just want to give it a try, because there's just too many things on the menu. So the sense of realism that is when the pastry or whatever you want to call it is made in front of you, and there you go. Add the butter, 230 yen. Can't get enough of the melting butter. Okay. Variety pack is right there. Got black bean paste, white bean paste, custard curry, and cheese curry. So you definitely get a good variety, which is not bad. And looks like she approves. So they ate various flavors. They were all filling and were perfect for lunch and snacks. Popular item of the shop is the kuriyaki. The texture of the crunchy cabbage is addictive, and he definitely wants to repeat it again. After that, they went to the the husband side of things. And this is the railway model portion. So it's on the second floor. Let's see if we can look at this. Let me move it over here a little bit. There you go. So that's a really good size Engage. Even the Engage vehicles, which is kind of expensive, but a diorama of ridiculous huge. It's a full-fledged model railroad. Very nice. I see he has the Dr. Yellow and the 700 right there. They said that, if anything, the Engage diorama is very delicate and contains valuable items, so please be careful when you visit, especially with children. And the location has sign language support as well. The husband's experience was working at a prefectural school for the deaf, therefore it is possible to communicate in sign language. That's pretty cool. So that's Railway Model Curry and Grill in Saga Prefecture. Enjoy the exquisite Imagawa Yaki and diorama. Cool. They do have an Instagram. Engage Tetsudo Cafe. Let's go to it. There we go. Let's bring things back here. But yeah, that is pretty much that. Engage Model Railroad Diorama in Imagawa. Homemade curry and custard are recommended. From 11 o'clock to sold out regular holiday, Monday and Tuesdays, the regular holidays, it's open. So, it's all good. Check it out. Okay, the next news is in regards to Lionel, as they release Disney 100 related trains. Lionel, a long-established railroad model company, will release Disney 100 related vehicles, HO gauge and O gauge pattern. That is cool. There's a YouTube channel right there. The Wonder Lion Chief set. Let's see what you got here.
Okay, everybody, get ready for full steam ahead!
Okay, that's cool. I don't want to play too much of it because of the music, but as you can see here, you got the Disney 100 illuminated boxcar. Got a set right here, and also Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse handcart. I think that's going to be pretty awesome right there, especially if you're a Disney fan. Definitely something worth checking out. Okay, so the website for the Tetsudo Mokei Contest 2023 is being updated. Model Railroad Contest for 2023 for Tokyo will be on August 4th, 5th, and the 6th, and Fukuoka will be through the 12th and the 13th. This is the schools that compete in making the best dioramas, so you're going to see some awesome, cool stuff. And we will be talking about the those who are competing once they get their videos up and their channels up. So we'll discuss it more when that time comes. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and I look forward to seeing what kind of creative designs that these students have. So keep an eye on that. So talking about the TOMIX related things, by the way, for those of you who are listening to this episode for the first time, TOMIX is the TRANE division for Takara Tomy. And Takara Tomy is known for its various brands. You have the diorama collection, Diokole, the bus kole, truck kole, for their truck collections, and Engage. Of course, you got their Tomica division, their Plarail division, you name it. It's a big, giant company. And Takara Tomy is a major toy company in Japan. Been around for many decades. Served many generations of children, adults, and pretty much, while they TOMIX is their main engage, and I think they they create a lot of other type of trains as well. But while they release trains for TOMIX, you can also find them in Tomitech. The main difference is Tomitech division is the trains are pretty much like models and displays, but you can purchase certain wheels with their engine to make them move like an engaged train. But at the same time, you just realize, why do that when you can just buy an engaged train? But there are some certain trains that are released from Tomitech that would never be released on TOMIX. So kind of have to decide and make those hard decisions if you want to get it or not. Plarail, of course, is the most popular brand that entertains children and adults. Been around for generations, and pretty much they deal with plastic trains. And these trains are typically bigger than the Engage, and they come with the blue plastic tracks than the usual railroad tracks that you see from TOMIX. But anyway, they just released a JR485 700. Well, not release, but they are planning to release. So yeah, I think this is going to be very cool. This one is really interesting because of its brown and a green train look right here. But yeah, there's a full set, the 98822, and this will be going for $29,150 or 150 yen, which translates to about $275. So that's for 6 trains. Again, due to the price increase, a lot of these trains are being released as full sets, and they're a bit pricey. So this one comes with 6. It's a high grade though. So, but this is the Sayonara vehicle, the 4885 700, and yeah, check it out. We also have the JR Kiha 261 1000, and this one looks like a re-release right here. I do have the Plarail of this one. I don't think oh, you know what? Maybe I do. I'm not sure. But looking at it right now, let's see how much it costs. So the set, Zora, let's see here, 1988.38. You see here that this is for 23,650 yen. I'm looking here because this is the Ozora 2020 through 2022, but here it shows here it's going to be released on December 2023. So, do not know. But nevertheless, yeah, it's going to be a popular set for those who really want that. Train, here we got the JREF81. So this one comes with a Cassiopeia head mark, I believe. Oh no, it's pulled by the Oh, it actually is the EF81 that pulls the train, so you could get the set Bs, and you could. I see what this is. So this was back when the Cassiopeia. I've talked about the Cassiopeia, I think, like episode 10 or something like that. But pretty much, the train was continued to be used, but it was pretty much pulled by various powerful diesel trains, older ones. In this case, the EF81. But I guess, yeah, if you want to get the set for the Cassiopeia set and connect it to the EF81, you can. This train, let's see, is 7173. Well, wait. No, you are getting a new release of the Cassiopeia here. December 2023, 6 cars, 18,150 yen, and then you can get the add-ons for 14,080 yen. Wow. This is interesting for me because I do have the Cassiopeia, but I do have the not this type of front-facing one, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And then you got these sets here. Let's check them out here. So this one is the... comes with various points. So you do get the switch. So I think that's really cool. Because a lot of people have been looking for these curved tracks that you could switch. So this is really great if you have various vehicles and you just want it, various double tracks. There you go right here. As you can see right here. Split it off. So it's an interesting set. Right here is the NXF 2023. So this one is for Windows 10 and 11. So let's see here. What do you have here? It's for those hardcore people who'd like to do their own 3D modeling of train stations. It's only 4180, so it's not too bad. And then you got the 117, you got the 200s, and the ISO 20 feet. So this one looks like the one I have already. What's the difference? Aside from the look. Okay, there's a Koki 107, and you got a Koki 200. So I see here. It's a container. I'm looking here at 2750 yen. So yeah, I guess if you want to get add another Koki to your set, but you can get cheaper Kokis out there. So, but I guess it just depends of how much of how much you are into making things as realistic as possible. But yeah, that depends on you. And here you got the 117 series. Old school right here from 1979. You'll see those little pipes right there. Full set will go for 89,980. So this will be going for this one's not that bad actually. It's an HO gauge. Well, I don't want to say it's not too bad. It's still going to be close to $850, but for those who are into larger gauge, I guess you can't beat that. Well, I guess you could beat it. The price is expensive, but oh well.